97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrocht and Tommy Kester.
Hey, welcome in, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you here on Sports Daily. It is Jacob Albrocht and Paul Savage in for Tommy Kester on a Tuesday instead of a Wednesday. Paul and Tom did a little flip-flop on us this week, but we're excited to have Paul in here. It is the day we talk to our Chiefs insider, Dan Israel, who will join us at the top of the next hour.
Sports Daily right here on KFH. My name is Paul Savage, along with Jacob Albrocht. He will be joining us in just a moment.
You got me, Paul?
Day in sports, all kinds of things going on. Friday, the World Series starts. And by the way, could you ask for two greater teams? I mean, these are icons. This might be one of the best World Series we have seen in a while. The Los Angeles Dodgers, the New York Yankees, two iconic teams. It's going to be a lot of fun. Probably, I think we could say, Jad, I believe we could say, and Jacob will be joining us here in just a moment or two, but I think I could say, if I was to make the statement to you, Jad, if I said, you know something, the two best baseball players right now at this moment in all of baseball is Ohtani and Judge. Would you not agree? Because you're shaking your head kind of, yeah, you would agree. That's right. Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, I'm shaking my head. Yes, I think we can make a case for that. And part of the beautiful part about that, Jacob, is obviously that two of the iconic teams of baseball going into a World Series. How can you not love that? Here's my hope. I give you my hope, Jacob. Here's my hope. This goes 7 games. That's what I want. I want it to go 7 games. I want to see these two iconic teams battle it out for 7 games. That's just what I hope it doesn't go 4 and it's done. I want to see a World Series of consequence, and this is stacking up to be one of those kind of series.
All right. Can you hear me now, Paul? Are you able to hear me?
Jacob's gone again. Well, we'll just get him right back. But my point is, once we get to that World Series, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to that particular game. Last night we had 2 games in the NFL. One of the games that I really enjoyed getting some glimpses of. I didn't get to see the whole game, but got close to seeing quite a bit of this particular game. That was the Ravens and the Buccaneers. And, Lamar Jackson, he just amazes me. I don't want to think that he's going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, partly because of the way he plays. I mean, his style of football. I always worry from game to game about, injury. He's that kind of player that can happen. And we see those kind of injuries all the time on quarterbacks that run. I mean, look at the Washington Commanders and Jalen Daniels. We're looking at him. That was one of the big worries. I thought to myself, here's a young man that's going to come into this league. He's really, 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 really good. And so it's one of those things where I worry about a guy like Lamar Jackson getting hurt. And Jacob, I just think
shots. You took a couple of shots. You got me now, Paul. Sorry about that. We had a little.
No problem.
So happy to be here with you. We'll get into Monday Night Football. We'll get into a little bit of the World Series, all of these things. Monday Night Football is very interesting to me because of the Ravens. I want to tell you that the IHOP hotline is open. It's brought to you by IHOP. Celebrate the weekdays with all new IHOP House Faves, all your favorites for just $6 Monday through Friday. Coming up top of the hour, we'll talk to Dan Israel, our Chiefs insider, executive producer of the Chiefs Radio Network. And I think that's interesting today because of what we saw last night from the Ravens. Where do people stack the Chiefs and the Ravens at the top of the AFC? I know the obvious answer there. They played each other, but it's obviously a gray area and not a black and white question. So we'll get into that a little bit as we make our way through today. A lot of interesting stuff to get to. Tua Tagovailoa is coming back for Miami. What do we think of that decision from him? I would tell you just on the surface, I think it's his decision to make. The NBA is back tonight. We got all kinds of good stuff coming for you, and we're happy to be here with you. Paul, good morning.
Well, good morning to you.
Forgive my raspiness. I have something in my throat. I don't know what it is, but we'll be all right. We'll survive it.
My suggestion
mute and hack.
Yeah, my suggestion would be a little bit of honey in some HTO. That I mean, just
We do have hot tea at HTO, and it is delicious.
Put a little honey in it, and you're good to go.
Yeah, we'll be good to go. We're ready to rock and roll. So let's talk about Monday Night Football, Paul.
Right.
I love when they have two. I'm all in on the 2 games at once thing. I think it's pretty awesome. I like it. I hope it's something that continues in the NFL. I don't see why not. And the Ravens come into that thing, and we've seen the Ravens stumble this year, right? They lost the opener, and they feel like they should have won it, and all those things. Then we're going to go for 2, and who knows if they'd have made it. And then they lost to the Raiders. You're like, well, wait, what? What was that? But then since then, Paul, they have wins over Dallas, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Washington, Tampa. So you're looking at a stretch here. Not only have the Ravens won those last 5, but they have played a really tough schedule in that stretch. And say what you will about Dallas, right? Buffalo, that's a huge. They beat Buffalo by 25. They took Cincinnati on the road to overtime. They beat Washington, who's this up-and-comer, right? Tampa last night. Tampa had just a really unfortunate night that we'll get to. But the Ravens are really, really good. And Lamar is in peak Lamar form. Right now, got to be the odds-on favorite to go back-to-back on an MVP. Would you, though, right now, knowing everything that we know, knowing that they're mostly healthy, the Chiefs are not, they're far from it. If we're power ranking the AFC right now, they have 2 losses, but is there a case to be made that you could power rank them ahead of the Chiefs? I think that there is. I don't know that I would do it. It doesn't matter, of course. And you just look at it, and I think this becomes a really interesting way to look at it, because as we look at it, you've got to think about playing them in the postseason, right? If you're the Chiefs right now, if I'm the Chiefs, like everything I'm doing is pretty much I'm looking at what's in my way of another Super Bowl. Well, Tampa's not in the way anymore. The team they get to play, the good fortune in a lot of ways continues for the Chiefs. They get to now play the Buccaneers in a couple of weeks, Paul. And the Buccaneers probably won't have Godwin. They probably won't have Evans. So
Yep.
It's you look at the Ravens and what they're doing, and you have to imagine as you're making any decisions to try to make this team better, because the Chiefs injury news just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. They're now down their corner. Watson, Juju's not going to play this weekend. So that means you're starting with your 4th string wide receiver in the game. You have to, I think about that stuff and look at it through the lens of, okay, what are we looking at? Yeah, we're 6-0. That's great. We're 6-0. Awesome. But what does that mean to win a Super Bowl? And I think when you have that conversation, you got to start it with the Ravens right now, at least in the AFC, because Derrick Henry's finding a groove. And okay, the Chiefs have been really good against the run. And I'm in on that too, by the way. But if you are able to stop Derrick Henry, Lamar's never looked better as a passer. He's probably never had more options, more legitimate options in the passing game than he has this year. And their defense isn't spectacular, but it's pretty good and will get better. And the thing that they have done really well is stop the run. And that's what the Chiefs need to do to win playoff games. That's their style right now, is to run the ball. So I don't know how much we look back at week 1, because the Chiefs have lost since that game. They've lost Isaiah Pacheco. They've lost Rashee Rice. They don't have Juju right now. They're down their second best corner. Like, I think you have to consider all that stuff when you look and evaluate what the Chiefs need to be doing in the couple of weeks that they have before a trade deadline to try to get better. And the answer to that may be nothing, because it's hard to make trades in season in the NFL. We know that. But I do think you have to look at the Ravens that way and think about it that way. You can't just sit here and say, yeah, well, we're 6-0 and we beat them in week 1. Week 1 was a lifetime ago at this point.
Yeah. Well, that was very nice. That was very well done. That was a nice, whatever it was. It was very, very cogent. It made a lot of sense. But you know something, Jacob? I hate to bring this up, but you did not mention the name Patrick Mahomes. You didn't bring that. I don't believe, unless I missed it, you did not mention the name Patrick Mahomes. When you're a football team and you have a guy like Patrick Mahomes, who I think is the best player in all of the NFL at this moment, going into this game week. I think he's the best player in the NFL. You didn't mention him. And when you have that, there's a reason why you are undefeated. There's a reason why the Chiefs are the only, let me point that out, only NFL team left still undefeated. You got to buy a guy by the name of Patrick Mahomes. I think that's worth mentioning. I think that's, I'm making a point that you have a lot of good points. But right now, the defending championships, the two-time defending world champions, the Kansas City Chiefs have a player by the name of Patrick Mahomes. Last I've heard, he's healthy. He's ready to go. He's going to play this weekend. That's the last I heard. I had no other reason why he's not playing.
I get it.
You have him.
I get it.
Do you? Because you okay.
Well, and I'm not saying. Look, I'm not saying I don't think.
Your skis just a tad. Just a tad.
I would not bet against the Chiefs. I'm the same person who last year, Paul, when the sky was falling for a lot of Chiefs fans, it said, "You got to chill. This is actually a team that's built to win in the postseason. They play really good defense. They have Mahomes. They have Kelsey. They can run the ball. They'll be fine."
Okay.
Same guy who said that. Same guy who still feels that way right now.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
However,
that
team last year was not dealing with the crazy list of injuries that this team is dealing with right now. And we'll talk about that when we come back. Bad news for the Chiefs on the injury front yesterday. It all goes hand in hand. That and it's funny to me, like me saying I think the Chiefs need to do something to try to improve the roster to make up from these injuries. Like there is a very large portion of Chief fans, Chief media that would take that as this like personal offense. How could you say that? Like they're the best. And I'm like, okay.
I think I just did that, didn't I?
You did. Like I'm like, yeah. Like don't take offense to me saying I think they need to go make a couple of moves here because this. I will explain. We'll continue the conversation. The Ravens doing what they did last night, the way that they did it, I think intensifies it for me. But we'll come back. We'll have more Sports Daily. It's all Brockton Savage. We got lots of good stuff. I want to say thanks to Prairie Fire Coffee for keeping us fueled up each and every morning at KFH. More Sports Daily coming right at you.
A mourning widow sells her husband's car trying to move on, but the checks came back in his name.
How do they expect him to cash his check?
Looking for answers, fact finder Brandon Stitt went to the Department of Revenue. A proposed energy plan that threatens Kansas landowners, meaning some families could lose their homes.
My land is not for sale. Others' land is not for sale. Our lifestyle is not for sale.
12 News took their concerns to Senators Marshall and Moran. When you need answers, turn to the fact finders for help. Right. Start your day with 12 News this morning. Get ready with Jake's accurate hour-by-hour forecast, so you'll know if you need a jacket when you walk out the door or an umbrella by lunch. Start your day knowing what happened overnight and what's happening now. Live, breaking news all morning long. And plan the best route to work and school with traffic from across Kansas. Start your day right. Start your day with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story, clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
At 12 News, we know you're busy, which is why we're here whenever you need us. Anytime, any screen. With live breaking news.
Critically hurt after an apartment.
Storm Team 12 forecast.
Snowing for many miles.
And the stories you don't want to miss.
The scene's still very active.
Just search KWCH 12 News wherever you stream and catch up on the latest news of the day. All for free and on your schedule, hopefully making your day a little bit easier. And did I mention the Storm Team 12 forecast? 12 News whenever you want.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Determining fact from fiction. That's our full-time job.
You need to have someone give you the whole story from every side.
To help you when no one else is listening.
You need someone to put you first.
That's what we do.
We bring you the facts first.
When you need it.
Wherever you are.
12 News. Facts first.
Portion of the program brought to you by Crestview Country Club. Coming up, fall at the club. Still golfing, as we tell you, tennis events like Glow in the Dark Triples. It's a one-time-a-year special event for the Halloween season you don't want to miss. The indoor courts get blacked out. Tennis court and net are illuminated via black light, high energy, fast-paced, a great workout, and you can play triples. Part of a team of 3 or 4, taking on other teams of 3 or 4, rotating after every point, voting for the best costume. Prizes available for first and second. Music will be playing on the courts. That's the kind of stuff we tell you about over at Crestview. Just because the weather changes doesn't mean the fun doesn't continue at Crestview. Give them a call. Check out their membership deals. Tell them we sent you from Sports Daily. Paul, we're talking. Yes.
I was just going to say the one thing that's obvious to me, the last 3 weeks have probably been some of the best golf weather that we've had around here for a full year. Tremendous golf weather. I'm just saying, boy, what a reason to go out to Crestview and get some golf in. Have you played some golf in the last 2 or 3 weeks?
I got about 7 holes in a couple of weeks ago. I'm doing a Top Golf charity thing for the Hadwins, which we had them in a couple of weeks ago. That'll be with Tommy. And then there's a Special Olympics charity event next Monday, this coming Monday, which is you're in for me here. So and that'll probably be my grand finale, maybe one more round. It is really hard in the fall to find time to play golf.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Got,
that's my point.
I know that's the problem. It's the best time of year to play, but it's impossible. We now have, Paul, starting tonight, as I coach my daughter's 4th grade basketball team, we will now have kids' activities 7 nights a week. All 7 nights have something. I guess Sunday nights don't, but we're also in birthday party season as school starts. So literally 7 days a week, like it's kids stuff. So fall is hard, but this is what I mean. Like the tennis stuff, my wife's playing tennis. I mean, I think maybe right now, like anytime she gets away and has like an hour in between shifts and kids, she runs over there and plays tennis. I might go hit the range. That's what that kind of stuff is why we've really liked Crestview. So we'll give him a call. Paul, we're talking Chiefs. So this is so funny because Tommy would have done the same thing to me you just did. When I watch and again, I'm not picking against the Chiefs, not betting against Chiefs, not doing any of that. I'm just laser focusing on a Super Bowl. Last year, when everything was going wrong and they were losing games, and that didn't happen yet, by the way. They were 6-1 to start last year. But when that was happening, you're just looking to the Super Bowl. Now, we had already passed the trade deadline and all of those things, and they didn't really need to do anything to the roster last year. They just needed to play better, right? And so you looked at it and you're like, okay, well, they've got this. All of a sudden, they have this great defense. They can run the ball. They have Mahomes and Kelsey, and Rashee Rice was ascending, right? So it was like, for me, I was like, that's a team that's built to win in the postseason. And then I look at this year, and it is still a team that's built to win in the postseason. And the biggest difference right now is the Chiefs are playing really well, all things considered, right? They're not making mistakes. They are turning the ball over too much, but they're not, they're not penalties. And I think the turnovers are partly due to the fact that they have to try to make up for roster deficiencies and be a little more aggressive. Mahomes does, but he leads the league in interceptions right now. Paul, what if I told you that Travis Kelce's averaging, I don't know, it's something like 4 catches and 40 yards a game right now. Easily the slowest start to his career since he's become kind of the guy. What if I told you they'd be down Isaiah Pacheco, Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster? Now they get the news of Watson, and he left the game with injury, Jalen Watson, in a cast. It doesn't sound like that's good. He may be done for a while. They don't have Isaiah Pacheco. Patrick Mahomes leads the league in interceptions. Patrick Mahomes is, by quarterback rating, the 22nd ranked quarterback this year in football. All of those things, and I told you they were 6-0. I think you can look at that a lot of ways. You can look at it and say, well, what about when some of those things aren't the case? They're going to be that much better. And I totally agree with that, by the way. But I think you do have to look at it and remember that Bengals game was razor thin. The Ravens game was razor thin. The Falcons game was razor thin. They've had a lot of good fortune this year. And so I don't want to be blinded by that either. I do think that they if they can, they should add to the roster any way that they can. It's a different year. You're going for history. You can go all in more than you normally would. And all in's relative. They're not going to go trade a bunch of crazy. They're not going to go make a bunch of crazy trades. But they can be more aggressive maybe than normal at a time like this because you're trying to make history. This may be it for Kelsey, right? Like all of these things are there for you to kind of push it all in, I think, a little bit this year. And I do think it's okay. And Chiefs fans, Chiefs media, like always ready to be on the attack anytime anybody says something about and it doesn't have to be that way. Like the Chiefs are great. They're 6-0, right? That doesn't mean they can't be better. And it doesn't mean we shouldn't be paying attention to what's happening around us. And what's happening around us is that the Ravens look awesome. And the Steelers with Russell Wilson looked awesome. And the Texans are ascending and all of these things. And we have to think about things that way. If they went with the roster that they have now into the playoffs, how good do you feel about that?
Well, you make a great point. I mean, you've made several great points. And the first point is that two stats that you gave would just jump out at me, and that is Kelsey, and that is, he's turned 35 now. He is certainly not making those spectacular plays that we would come on the radio on a Monday and say, "Did you see Kelsey that play that he?" No, we're not.
He's doing a lot. He's blocking well. He's doing a lot of things well. Don't get me wrong. He's playing well.
He's not the Kelsey that
Correct.
we understand.
Not as a pass catcher.
Not as a pass catcher or a playmaker. However, the stat with the most interceptions, right now we're talking about with Patrick Mahomes. Anybody who throws that many interceptions would you would certainly have a problem with your football team. However, it's still on the other end. He's doing a lot of things right. And the other thing is, quite frankly, you bring up the Ravens. I'm so jealous of the Ravens. I am so jealous that they got Derrick Henry. I just, I mean,
so good.
I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, picture Derrick Henry on the roster of the Kansas City Chiefs, and where would you be? But I can tell you right now, he is doing so much better than I really thought. I mean, I was buying into the age thing, and he, maybe he's getting up there. He's a running back. I mean, he's had a lot of wear and tear on his body. But man, oh man, that guy! I'll tell you what. You talk about Lamar Jackson being Player of the Year. I'm not so sure I couldn't make a case at this point with Derrick Henry as the MVP, because Lamar Jackson may not be having the year that he would be having if it weren't for Derrick Henry. So I'm very jealous of that. But I get your point. I get your point on that. And right now, this is a Patrick Mahomes show. It's him. It's who he is. He doesn't have Rice. He doesn't have Pacheco. He doesn't have, well, I was going to say Kelsey. He has Kelsey, but Kelsey's not. It's not the same thing as we've seen in the past. So this is going to be somewhat of a creation of Patrick Mahomes. How he does it, how the staff puts together. It's going to be fascinating to watch and see how this is done.
It is, they're actually still a good matchup for the Ravens because the Chiefs can stop the run, right? Still a good matchup. I still like that matchup. Well, I don't want apathy to set in to just say, man, they're good enough. They're 6-0. They're gonna do whatever, because last year's team was 6-1, and then the wheels fell off. Just a reminder.
I remember.
Just a reminder that it can, for as much. This is the NFL, right? The ultimate law of averages league. Everything has gone right for the Chiefs on the field, not off the field. They're losing players right and left. They don't have a left tackle that they trust. All of these things are in there. I just don't think you need to set on your laurels and say, it's the Chiefs, it's Patrick Mahomes, they'll be fine. Last year, you didn't really have a choice. The trade deadline had come and gone, right? But they weren't dealing with the kinds of injuries they're dealing with this year either. It's an injury problem. As we get the news yesterday, Paul, that Watson is going to probably be out for a long time, if not all of the time. And Juju, that hamstring flared up, and he's going to be out a while. Andy Reid already ruled him out. So, okay, now you're going into a game. You're starting with Worthy, who we know is not a possession receiver. Worthy is barely being used right now. Okay, so you have him. We're going to go Watson now, McCole Hardman. I don't know. Travis Kelce's not. Now, I will also say they're utilizing tight ends in a different way, and they're a really good running team, right? Their interior line is, if it's not the best in football, find me a better one, because I think it is. And they've got Kareem Hunt, and that style of football is lending itself and been such a nice complement to the way that they play defense that, yeah, they'll be fine. They're still the favorite. I wouldn't pick against them, but that doesn't mean they can't be better, Paul. And that's what I look at. Why would you not go do anything you can do to get a little bit better when we're only in the 8th week of the NFL? So we're not even halfway home, and you already are dealing with all these injuries. You think they're going to make it the rest of the way without any more injuries of significance? Because I doubt it, right? And they're already up against that. I think they need to be pretty aggressive over the next 2 weeks.
And something tells me they probably will, because, I'm not sure that they're thinking they can go to the bank with what they've got right now. Something's got to be done. Something's got to be done with some speed, with some possession receivers. I mean, I mean,
think they've got the speed. I think they need the possession receiver. If Juju's not there, and I thought that would hurt them more in the Niners game, and then the Niners lost all their players in the middle of the game, and the defense played just an unbelievable game for the Chiefs. I think not having Juju is going to hurt Mahomes. I think not having somebody out there that he absolutely knows he can get to in a third down situation, like whatever it is. Because if that's not Kelsey, if teams continue to take that away, and they are, I mean, or maybe it's Noah Gray. I don't think it's Watson. Like, I don't know who that player is, and that's always been an important thing for Mahomes to have.
Correct.
And I don't know. And by the way, I don't know that you can just go find that either. But if they go make a trade this week, that player you need to be thinking about as a contributor in the postseason. You still got to get there. You'd like him to come along quickly. And we saw Amari Cooper score a touchdown with Buffalo in kind of limited action. Like, those guys will ramp up. I just don't think the Chiefs should sit still here. I know they're 6-0. They were 6-1 last year. I can promise you, Paul, if something like last year happened and they're good and they lost, like, let's say they lose 4-6, and I don't think they will, but let's say they lose 4-6 like they did a year ago, I can promise you the same people right now that are saying they're fine. They won't be saying that 6 weeks from now. They'll be panicking. And all of the reasons why this is very much a team that can win a Super Bowl as currently constructed and is the favorite to do so still exist. Doesn't mean you can't get better, right? Doesn't mean you can't get better. They have an aggressive GM. After watching the Ravens last night, knowing that they're getting better defensively and have turned into one of the better run-stopping teams in football at the same time as are boasting this offense that they have, I think you got to stack yourself up against them at minimum, right? You got to look there at minimum and think about how that looks in the postseason. It's still a good matchup for the Chiefs because they stop the run well.
Right.
And if you can stop Derrick Henry, you feel good. But, man, they have a lot of weapons now. Bateman looks good. They still have Zay Flowers. Both their tight ends are going now. Andrews finally unlocked a little bit last night. And then Henry has that closing ability. If the Ravens stop the Chiefs' running game, what do you do at that point? And I think it's perfectly okay to right now look at things that way and try to evaluate what you could do over the next 2 weeks based really on what they're doing.
Well, part of the good news is next week you got Las Vegas, and that, you know, they're not the greatest team in the world. That should be a team that I
Who
believe
beat the Ravens, by the way.
Well, I know that, but they're 2-5. I mean, they've not played. They're not that good. And of course, the old axiom: anybody can beat anybody in the NFL.
Absolutely.
I mean, let's face it. That's why there's such a thing as a bookie in Las Vegas, is because anybody can beat anybody, and that's the charm of the whole thing. But you're catching a break playing Las Vegas. But it gives a chance to get to the point where the Chiefs are trying to answer some of these questions, figure out some of these things, work out an option or two that would be beneficial to the roster. It's hard because all the good players are on rosters already, Jacob. That's part of the problem.
Yeah, you got to make a trade. You got to go, and that's the thing. Like, I don't
go. That's where the players are. Go ahead.
I don't think they're making a Devontae Adams or Amari Cooper type of move. I don't think they should. I don't think they need to. I don't think it's necessary. But I do think you could look around the league and do something to try to find a little help. That's all. That's all I'm saying. You're not going to find a left tackle. You're kind of going to have to just roll with what you've got there. And quite frankly, even as those two guys have struggled a little bit, they've been able to work around that for the most part. And you can give credit to Mahomes for that. The quick pass game, all the things they can do to help with that. You're not finding that help on the trade market at left tackle. Teams don't trade left tackles. But there are plenty of teams with receivers that they just don't need right now. There just are. And so look around. Who's a fit, right? We need a possession receiver that can acclimate quickly. We need a smart player that can run all the routes, right? You got to have them run all the routes. Even if they're like, that's the thing. Juju's perfect for it. Like, he's the perfect guy, but now he's hurt again.
Yeah, that's
he's
right.
older, and it's soft tissue. And so how much are you going to have him down the stretch? Like, he's the perfect guy. Go try to find somebody that replicates him, right? That type of player, and see if you can get him. All you got to do is have him acclimated by week 17, Paul. Like, you don't have to have him acclimated by week 8.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not about that.
Point.
It would be nice if they could help you right away. That's icing on the cake. But the reality is, anything that the Chiefs do should be aimed at the postseason. The good news for them is they built in a little bit of a cushion here. They have a 3-game advantage on the Ravens. So, for the Chiefs to not be ahead of the Ravens at minimum in the standings, you got to imagine them at least losing 3 games and the Ravens winning all the rest of their games. Ravens probably aren't winning all the rest of their games. So the Chiefs get to maintain this 3-game advantage. They've got 2 games in the win-loss column and the tiebreaker right now. That's fantastic news. You'd love playing that game at Arrowhead, even though they won it in Baltimore last year. That's fantastic news. Again, nothing they need to do or should do would be out of desperation, but just out of why not? Why not go get a little bit better? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, deep down, we all know that improvement has to be met. I mean, deep down, what are the chances of winning a 3rd Super Bowl stacked the way you are right now? Well, I think it would be very, very difficult.
It is, but there's still, and I'll look right now. Let me go look at the betting odds. But I would still pick them to win the Super Bowl. So don't misunderstand. And they are the odds-on favorite. Quite a bit more than the Ravens, and then the Lions predictably are 3rd. So they're still the odds-on favorite, and I think they should be. I would still pick them to win the Super Bowl. I just think if you can get a little better, get a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. But they're not dominating, and that's part of the problem. I mean, we've seen through the course of these 6 wins. I mean, how many 1-point wins? I don't have it in front of me, but how many 1-point wins? At least 2 or 3 1-point wins. I mean, this is a team that's 6-0,
and that's okay.
But they could be 3-3. They could be 3-3.
To me, they could be, but that's a part of what makes the team great is the fact that they are 6-0 despite all of it. And Andy Reid was asked about that yesterday, and that's not by accident, by the way, either. They're not lucky. They're good at that. They're good at getting messy and ugly and sloppy. I told you after week 2 or 3, I was like, the Chiefs are totally comfortable with this, by the way. Like, they're fine. They're just fine having the game on the line late and being able to go put it away. Like, that is their DNA, the way they're currently constructed, because they know their defense can get them a stop, and they know Patrick Mahomes is always going to make a big play. Always. Like, they're fine with it. And I think they still are.
Yeah.
So, and Andy Reid talked about that yesterday. And he when he was asked about like winning the close games, he pointed to like the intangible stuff. He was like, that starts with everybody in that locker room being on the same page.
Right.
Everybody in that locker room having like an unbelievable amount of trust with each other, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and that was, we saw that. That's how they won a Super Bowl last year. So we know they can. Of course they can do it. They're the odds-on favorite for a reason. But I still think they should go try to get a little depth because the injuries just keep piling up. 2 more yesterday. My goodness. Like, at some point, it's too many. And so
I got you, big boy.
869-1240. The IHOP hotline's open for you. You can also find us on our video streams. Thanks for watching us on 12 News Connected. Thanks for watching us on Facebook, on YouTube, and X, for listening to us on the Odyssey app. Always appreciate everybody being here. Well, more on the Chiefs top of the next hour. Dan Israel, our Chiefs insider, is coming in. We'll pose this question to him. Basically what we've been talking about. Let's stick in the NFL. Tua Tagovailoa is going to start this week. It looks like. Should he? How good can the Dolphins be? Is there still time for them to be a contender? If Tua is there, we'll talk about all of that when we return on Sports Daily.
A mourning widow sells her husband's car trying to move on, but the checks came back in his name.
How do they expect him to cash his check?
Looking for answers, fact finder Brandon Stitt went to the Department of Revenue. a proposed energy plan that threatens Kansas landowners, meaning some families could lose their homes.
My land is not for sale. Others' land is not for sale. Our lifestyle is not for sale.
12 News took their concerns to Senators Marshall and Moran. When you need answers, turn to the fact finders for help. Right. Start your day with 12 News this morning. Get ready with Jake's accurate hour-by-hour forecast, so you'll know if you need a jacket when you walk out the door or an umbrella by lunch. Start your day knowing what happened overnight and what's happening now. Live, breaking news all morning long. And plan the best route to work and school with traffic from across Kansas. Start your day right. Start your day with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
At 12 News, we know you're busy, which is why we're here whenever you need us. Anytime, any screen. With live breaking news.
Critically hurt after an apartment.
Storm Team 12 forecast.
Snowing for many miles.
And the stories you don't want to miss.
The scene's still very active.
Just
right
search KWCH 12 News wherever you stream and catch up on the latest news of the day. All for free and on your schedule, hopefully making your day a little bit easier. And did I mention the Storm Team 12 forecast? 12 News whenever you want.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Determining fact from fiction. That's our full-time job.
You need to have someone give you the whole story from every side.
To help you when no one else is listening.
You need someone to put you first.
That's what we do.
We bring you the facts first.
When you need it.
Wherever you are.
12 News. Facts first.
All right, welcome back in, everybody, to Sports Daily. You can tune in right here on KFH tonight at 6 for the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, and Chiefs Kingdom show. It's available right here or on the free Odyssey app. Speaking of Chiefs Kingdom, Chiefs Radio Network, our Chiefs insider, Dan Israel, the executive producer, joins us top of the next hour, so stay tuned for that. Between now and then, Paul, Tua appears to be on his way back this weekend. He still has to clear concussion protocol, but he can't do that until he starts practicing, which he's expected to do this week. It was bad again. The concussions keep piling up for him. I think we all know the risk in that. I think nobody knows the risk in that more than Tua Tagovailoa, and he's choosing to play. Got no issue with him making that decision for himself. It's his decision to make, Paul. The protocols, the procedures are in place. If he clears them and he wants to play and he's okay with the risk, it's his choice to make.
Well, who am I to say what is right and what is wrong? But I know this: a lot of bad things can happen with concussions, and I fear for that.
I do too.
We know that, and the problem, Jacob, is while we know a lot about the situation of a concussion, we don't know what's in the future for concussions.
Right
now, if he was to walk away from the game, he just signed before the season started a $214 million a year contract. I don't remember exactly what the guarantee was, but it was like 90 or 100 million was guaranteed no matter what. So here's a situation where money is not obviously the reason why he wants to play. It's love of the game. Who doesn't love the game? I love the game. I mean, we all make these decisions, whether I broke a wrist. I was told if I played again, I could not, if I hurt that wrist while I was playing, I might lose the flexibility of my wrist and not ever be able to move my wrist. You know what I did? I played, because that's what guys do. They play. It's
not even just football. It's anything. Whatever it is, whatever your passion is, if it's taken from you, you're probably going to do everything that you can to still be able to do it, whatever it is.
Right.
And so the risk is his and his alone and his family's. I mean, I hope that maybe we can put him in one of those big old crazy helmet things that they're putting on some helmets now. And, you can do some of that, but it's his risk to take. I can't say that I would do the same thing. I'm not sure what I would do.
Can I ask you a question? Do you
yeah.
mind if I ask a question? His head coach, Mike McDaniels, and Tua, I'm sure, had a conversation. I want to put you in the shoes of Mike McDonald. What would you do if Tua walks into your office and you're going to discuss this whole situation? What would your advice be to Tua? And the one answer you can't give is that it's up to you. I'm saying, would you? And I want it affirmed. Would you say play? Don't play. Not it's your decision.
Well, I'm not going to tell him what to do, number one. So that is the answer. It's your decision to make. And I would tell him that we're going to be just fine, whatever decision that you make. We're going to fully support you, whatever decision that you make. He said after the injury, Tua's got a bigger responsibility as a dad than he does as a quarterback. And so he's made it pretty clear where he lands on that. But I'm not going to tell somebody what to do like that, because I don't think it's any, and I know people want, but that's not we don't get that privilege to tell somebody what to do with their life. If he wants to take that risk, he can take that risk.
Gosh, what would you say to your son? What would you tell your son to do? Because is that a different deal? Because
I think it's a different deal.
Now I'm concerned.
I think it's a different deal. I would say, son, you don't need the money, you don't need the fame. You don't have anything to prove. You've got a family. I just want you to be, healthy and alive. But I'm also not going to say, son, I'm not going to allow you to play football, or I think you're an idiot if you do. I mean, at some point, we all take risks. Do you? It's so hard to compare it to things because people will say, well, it's just a game. But if it's your passion, if it's your livelihood, if it's your living, is more than that. And people take risks all the time. People take physical risks in what they choose to do for a living all the time. And he's choosing, if he plays, to take a pretty big risk. He made it through the entire year last year without any issues. I don't know what you can do. Now, if I were McDaniel, I would say, all right, we're welcoming you back, but you're going to get in one of those, helmet things, these big, massive helmet.
It's a helmet cover.
Yep, that's going on. Like, if you're going to play, you're going to play with that thing on, because I'm not going to sit here and watch you die on the field. So that's going to happen. Like, you're going to have to do that. And you're going to have to promise me that you will stop scrambling. We don't need that. We don't need that first down that bad. Yeah, I know that changes your game, but I'm going to take that away from you. No, I'm going to go to my offensive coordinator and say he better not ever run the ball. And if I'm talking to two, I say you better not scramble. If you do anything but slide again, you're going on the bench. Like, I'll bench you the next play and you'll be out of the game. So,
I respect that from you. I do totally respect that.
That
Jacob.
kind of stuff you can do.
I respect you for that.
But you can't tell him he can't play.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't.
I was prepared to tell him. That's me. I was prepared to say that.
Well, I guess too,
I sure get.
Do you feel like McDaniel owns any responsibility to Tua's well-being? Because I do not at all. If something bad happens to Tua, that is in no way. And there will be people that try to blame the Dolphins. Like, no, Tua is making this choice. Not the Dolphins.
No,
the Dolphins made it very clear that they support him if he chose to step away. So this ain't a Dolphins thing.
I have told players in professional football, retire, stop playing. My players, my position kids, don't come back. Don't play again. I worry about you. Am I out of line on that? I don't think so, because I don't want to see anybody get hurt that has the potential of getting hurt. I've stepped in and said, don't play before, Jacob.
I get it. I get it. But I think it's Tua's choice to make.
It's everybody's make it. Yeah. Well, it's I don't have the right to do that, really and truly, do I? I really don't.
Protect him as much as you can, and he's got to know the risk he's taking. Let's come back. We're going to get Dan Israel, and I want to ask him what he thinks after the Ravens game last night, after we get the news on Jalen Watson and Juju Smith-Schuster. Are the Chiefs good to just kind of roll through, or is the pressure intensifying for them to do something? We'll ask Dan Israel that question and all of it when we return. Hour number 2 of Sports Daily. It's all brought to Paul Savage. We'll be right back.
A mourning widow sells her husband's car trying to move on, but the checks came back in his name.
How do they expect him to cash his check?
Looking for answers, fact finder Brandon Stitt went to the Department of Revenue. A proposed energy plan that threatens Kansas landowners, meaning some families could lose their homes.
My land is not for sale. Others' land is not for sale. Our lifestyle is not for sale.
12 News took their concerns to Senators Marshall and Moran. When you need answers, turn to the fact finders for help. Right. Start your day with 12 News this morning. Get ready with Jake's accurate hour-by-hour forecast, so you'll know if you need a jacket when you walk out the door or an umbrella by lunch. Start your day knowing what happened overnight and what's happening now. Live, breaking news all morning long. And plan the best route to work and school with traffic from across Kansas. Start your day right. Start your day with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
At 12 News, we know you're busy, which is why we're here whenever you need us. Anytime, any screen. With live breaking news.
Critically hurt after an apartment.
Storm Team 12 forecast.
Snowing for many miles.
And the stories you don't want to miss.
The scene's still very active.
Just
right
search KWCH 12 News wherever you stream and catch up on the latest news of the day. All for free and on your schedule, hopefully making your day a little bit easier. And did I mention the Storm Team 12 forecast? 12 News whenever you want.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Determining fact from fiction. That's our full-time job.
You need to have someone give you the whole story from every side.
To help you when no one else is listening.
You need someone to put you first.
That's what we do.
We bring you the facts first.
When you need it.
Wherever you are.
12 News. Facts first.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrocht and Tommy Kester.
Caught! Touchdown! Kansas City!
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, we have you covered. Joining Sports Daily Live, executive producer of the Chiefs Radio Network, Dan Israel.
And that's how we start hour number 2 here on Sports Daily. Jacob Albrocht, Paul Savage in for Tommy here today. Dan Israel, executive producer of the Chiefs Radio Network, joins us on the IHOP hotline and on our video stream on 12 News Connected. Dan, welcome in. How are you this morning?
I'm feeling like I got Christmas early this year. This has just been a crazy ride, hasn't it? I mean, we're sitting here undefeated, and I can't explain why.
So I can't either. And now the Buccaneers are going to be without their top 2 pass catchers when the Chiefs play them in a couple weeks. But it's hard, Dan. The Chiefs Kingdom sometimes can be very aggressive, I'll call it. Anytime that you point out realities, sometimes it's offense taken. And so when I look at it and I watched the Ravens last night, for me, it's like, okay, let's project into the future. If those two teams play in the postseason, how do you think it goes? I'd still think the Chiefs are a good matchup, but boy, it's a lot different than it was in week 1. right?
Yeah.
Since
That's
then,
true.
the Chiefs don't have Isaiah Pacheco. They don't have Rashee Rice. They don't have Juju Smith-Schuster. They don't have Jalen Watson. All of those things are piling up on them. And the Ravens are clicking, have become one of the best run defenses in football, right? Derrick Henry has found a groove. Lamar Jackson looks like the MVP again.
Mhm.
And so I think it would be, and I don't think the Chiefs are doing this, but I think some fans are just saying everything's fine no matter what. It would be foolish to not try to get better in the next 2 weeks for the Chiefs. They've just had too many injuries.
Yeah, if you told me in the beginning of the season that we were going to be dealing with a lack of receivers, quality receivers, I was, man, we're overloaded. Our quiver is completely full, and yet it seems like every week we lose one or two of those, important facets. The Watson thing was really sad too, in that he's just playing so well, and But the one thing I would point out there, Jacob, too, excuse me, is that. Likely, and because I watched that Ravens game last night and was like, wow, who's beating that team, right? We're not going to play them again until the end of the season. And
Right.
Some of those guys will get back. Not all of them, right? But some of those guys will get back. Hopefully we'll be in a better shape, because I'm not sure the Chiefs have enough right now in the tank to go out and beat that team, because they look like they were just hitting on all cylinders.
Well, and the Chiefs have 3 games on them, so it's probably being played in Arrowhead. So that matters too, but that doesn't mean the Chiefs shouldn't try to get better. And I think that they can, and I don't think it'll be anything major, but we look at it. Mahomes leads the league in interceptions, I think largely because he's having to press a little bit. He isn't having a good year. Kelsey is, statistically speaking, as a pass catcher, exactly, off probably his worst start, since he's been the guy. So all of that stuff matters. And I don't think there's anything wrong with realizing 6-0 could just as easily be 3-3.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth overlooking the fact that they started last year 6-1, right? And then lost 4 of 6. So just there's no reason to get apathetic here. If the Chiefs can get better, they got to get better.
Yeah, and I just knowing Brett Veach, he's on that phone. I mean, the next 2 weeks are going to be interesting. I hope they go and do something that's more substantial than, like, say, bringing MVS back. That just doesn't make sense to me. And
I think he's
or
with
Darius
Saints or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I mean, I'm still trying to figure out what happened to Jerick McKinnon, because he's just sitting out there. But I do feel like you're right. They need to do something. I mean, we're in an unexpected position, and just because we didn't expect to have to need receiver talent doesn't mean we shouldn't go get it, because where we're at's where we're at. And we know Rice isn't coming back, no matter how deep we go in the playoffs. So there's a hole right there you have to fill. And hopefully this thing with Juju won't last too long, but
it's soft tissue, man.
I know. That's the worst part about it. You were absolutely right. Bones, like with Pacheco, that's a really, dependable recovery schedule. Soft tissue stuff, high ankle sprains, hamstrings, groin injuries, those things just seem to linger on and on and on. And hopefully not the case, but when you watched him come off the field the other night, or the other day in San Francisco, it looked like it was a little bit painful. And so we'll see what happens.
One of the things, Dan, that I'm fascinated with, and you brought it up briefly just a few moments ago, and that is the Travis Kelce situation. A lot of people are wondering, why is he not having the year that he's had in the past? We all know he's turned 35 years old. I got a question. Are the Chiefs, is this by on purpose? Is there a method to their madness where maybe they're not going to wear him out? Maybe they're going to try to keep him fresh. Maybe they're going to try to, keep him from situations where he may, get one of those nagging injuries. What is the behind the scenes situation with Travis Kelce and his production on this football team?
Paul, and this is Dan Israel speaking. I can't speak for Coach Reed or Coach Nagy, but I feel like a little bit of both. I feel like they kind of started this season saying, what we're going to do is we're going to feature these other guys until teams stop double and triple teaming Travis Kelce. And now they're in a situation where teams can still double team him. I haven't seen I haven't seen the film completely from the 49ers game, but I know in the beginning of the game, he had 2 guys on him for quite a bit. And so, I think with his age, he's just not able to beat that double team as easily as he used to be. Now, I don't want to say he's done. He's spent, because I think if you saw him do the little shimmy shake thing the other day and get a first down, and so he's still got that stuff in him, right? Yeah. And so I think if we could get to a point, if like what Jacob just said, if they go out and they go get talent and they can actually draw away the double team from him, we might see a reemergence of Travis Kelce. But that's kind of, I think, what the plan was, is to say, look, let's feature these other guys until they can't afford to say we're going to spend 2 men or 3 men on one guy. And it just unfortunately hasn't worked out well. I do think Xavier Worthy needs to sit with maybe some of these guys. Rice may not be able to play on the field, but somebody needs to talk with him and say, here's how you use your speed. McCole Hardman would be a good guy to do that with, to sit down and say, how do I use my speed to my advantage? Because we're seeing a lot of rookie things out of Xavier Worthy. I think there's a lot of potential there, but he's just a young kid.
Yeah. And I also don't think, Dan, that he's going to be stylistically what the offense needs the most, which is what Rashee Rice does and or Juju Smith-Schuster does. The last 2 years of this offense, we've seen that role be the critical role for Mahomes. I don't think that's ever going to be Worthy. I just don't think that's what he is. So, and I don't know that that's out there either. I don't know that they can go get it. Another position of need pretty clearly is left tackle. But don't you think they're sort of just going to have to go through the growing pit? Teams don't trade left tackles. Like, you're just going to have to grow.
You have to draft. 2 guys. You have to draft or grow. And I'm still not giving up on Kingsley, but I thought Wanye struggled mightily in the first half, but then he finally kind of started to figure out Nick Bosa. And I thought he did much better in the second half than he did the first. But yeah, that left tackle, man, I'll just never forget the Super Bowl 55 performance in how different Mahomes looked and how panicked he looked. And look, is that physical difference or is that mental difference? I think it's both. I think who doesn't feel that anxiety when I can't see what's behind me? And I always liken it to when I was a young man, I decided I was going to jump out of an airplane and you sit in jump school and it's like, man, this is going to be so fun. And then you get up there and you step to the edge of the plane and go, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And so there's no way to get comfortable with that. Right. And so I kind of liken that to the left tackle situation, but one of these guys has to grow and get better, and they've got to do something, because you're right. You're not going to go out in free agency and get a good left tackle.
Yeah, you look at the American Football Conference right now, and you think to yourself, Baltimore and Kansas City are to me the class of this particular conference. But you got the Bills, you got the Steelers, you got Houston, for goodness sakes, and maybe then pick another team. I mean, maybe you throw in a team like maybe the Colts or somebody like that. But you look at this right now, it's obvious to me that those are the 2 class teams, the Ravens and the Chiefs. What's that other team to you right now that you would think to yourself, that team has a shot at winning the conference championship?
It's funny. I would have said probably the Titans are gone. I think their window is closed, and I think the Bills will probably be there in the end. But it is maybe the Steelers. I know Tua is going to come back here and make a run at this thing, and I'm sure the Dolphins will be better with him under center, but will they be good enough? And is the hole too big? I think so. I can't see them winning the conference at this point, but I feel like I can't underestimate Tomlin. I just think he's a great coach, and that organization has been just steadily winning for 40 years. I mean, it's something else. And so I probably worry a little about them, but I feel like the Ravens are definitely the problem for us at this point. We may stumble with the Bills. We may stumble with a couple of these teams down the road. That Christmas Day game, that's going to be a big one. And I'll tell you what, I hope it's different than last year's Christmas Day game.
That was peak panic, I think.
Yes.
The Chiefs fans was, Christmas Day. So Dan Israel, executive producer of the Chiefs Radio Network, joining us. Next time you see Mitch, you tell him I apologize for doubting him that the defense would be better than it was a year ago.
Yeah.
It is. We'll see with Jalen Watson out, but it certainly has been. And that cures what ails you, right? If Pittsburgh winning for 40 years has taught us anything, it's that if you've got a good defense, you've got a chance. And the Chiefs have as good a defense as there is. Can that continue without Watson? I know the other young corners have looked pretty good. But, that clearly is the strength of this team.
I'm fascinated by the whole situation. I got a big hug from Steve Spagnuolo in the locker room, and I'm like, man, it's just unbelievable how you lose a rookie in Watson, or you lose Watson, and then these two rookies, Roland Wallace and Malik. What's going on here, man? These guys are catching ball. They're intercepting balls. We just wanted them to not screw up, and they're out there making plays. And so I think it's fascinating. And look, guys, the whole phrase "next man up," it's just so overused. It drives me crazy. It's so overused. And yet with the Kansas City Chiefs, you really have to respect the quality and depth of coaching, because we're talking about positional coaches. Look, I think we'd all agree, if the three of us sat down at dinner, it would be very easy to agree. Steve Spagnuolo is a freaking genius. That's all there is to it.
It was a masterclass on Sunday.
It is. It really is. And to watch him and to watch the way he disguises things is just fascinating. It really, for football fans, Chiefs fans who are kind of X's and O's guys, and you're getting into the offense and you're kind of frustrated with the offense, you know what? Start studying the defense, because it is a master class. You're absolutely right. But the depth of coaching, and look, it starts at the top. I get it. It starts with Steve Spagnuolo, but the defensive line coach, the linebackers coach, the cornerbacks coach, they've got these guys ready to play. And it's just fascinating to watch. And I'll also throw in here too, something I think is really unique with this team. I can't speak to 31 other teams. I have not covered them, but I can speak to prior Chiefs teams going back 35 years. The one other facet about this whole next man up philosophy that works for the Kansas City Chiefs is the players themselves are engaged. Nick Bolton is engaged in having his backup ready to step in for him. And I think that's an unusual characteristic.
Wow, that is. But that's what championship teams do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's true, a tremendous thing. Jacob and I earlier in the show were talking a little bit, and I made the comment that I am so impressed. I can't remember in a long, long time a player that has had a bigger effect on his team. And when you have a good football team and you have an effect on that team in the entire league, and that is Derrick Henry. I am simply amazed at the year as he's having. And I made the comment, and I thought Jacob was going to hop all over me. I says, I'm not so sure that he is an MVP at this point. Talk a little about, how do you know a guy who's in his 30s, a running back at running back position, the wear and tear these guys have over the years on their bodies. How do you know a Derrick Henry makes the impact on the Ravens the way they did? I'm telling you right now, if the Ravens win the Super Bowl, it's because of Derrick Henry.
I know. Well, first of all, Harbaugh has to call his number, but absolutely, Paul. I mean, I watched last night and I turned to my girlfriend and I said, that is not a 30-year-old. I'm sorry, but that is not the way 30-year-olds run.
Right.
I mean, he literally was running away from the pack, and he's such an impressive. I did an interview with him a couple of years ago. I think it was Super Bowl 54, maybe.
Right.
And I mean, it was one of these where I come up to about his midway through his chest, and he's just a huge individual and a very thick individual. I mean, just top to bottom, and yet to have that kind of speed and to be that agile, he's a freak. He is a freak. He very much reminds me of like an Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald was so little, and people said, I don't know that he's going to really be that good in this league, and yet he is. And he was. So I think Henry is. I don't know when we're going to see the end of that, because I really thought, running backs just don't turn 30; they retire. And he's amazing. And if he stays healthy, he will be an issue for the Chiefs to get to the Super Bowl. I have no doubt, Paul. You're absolutely right about that. But That's why they drafted him. I mean, that's why they traded for him and acquired him, and because they thought he could make a difference to their game. And man, has he. And, I got to throw in here, though, because Jacob kind of mentioned it earlier. Lamar Jackson is playing the traditional role of quarterback where he stays in the pocket and delivers an accurate pass to a level that I didn't think he was capable of doing. And him doing that and Henry, it's a tough combination.
With more pass catchers, I think, than Lamar's ever had too. He is one of the great stories at that position, how he's reinvented himself already several times in his career. He's awesome. Let's look ahead, Dan, to the Raiders. It's hard to find any reason why this game would be of any concern. This is a team that beat the Ravens, though. Kind of any given Sunday. I don't know. They don't have Devontae Adams now. They're all kinds of banged up. Who knows who's going to play quarterback for them anymore? It's hard to find a reason to be concerned this week at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is one of those games where the Chiefs would have to beat themselves. I don't think the Raiders can do it alone. But as you mentioned, those days can happen. I think that Coach Reid is about as good at preparing a team in these situations as I've ever seen. And I think that's why they've had the level of success in our division for so long. But you're on the road, you go out there and granted, it's not, that stadium's going to be half full of Raiders fans, half full of Chiefs fans. I think that's just one of the curses that any team that would go into Las Vegas. You got to understand that when the schedules come out, the fans of your opponents look at the schedule and say, hey, the Chiefs are going to play the Raiders on October, whatever. And I'm buying tickets and we're going to spend the week out there. I mean, that's right. It's a vacation destination. So I think that's something they'll always have to deal with, but it's definitely difficult to travel. I'm just not talking about playing in a hostile environment because the fans are loud. You have to go out and you have to travel. And, you get home. We got home. Gosh, I think I rolled into my house at maybe 2 a.m. from San Francisco. And now just a few days later, we're going to get set to go fly back out. And so you got back-to-back home games. There's a lot to deal with. And you've got the injuries that are dealing with the Chiefs. They're going to have to make those adjustments, and they're going to have to do it in the 3 days of practice. There's a lot here. So can the Raiders beat the Chiefs? Sure, they could. Do I think they will? Not really. I mean, I just feel like, if it would have to be a global meltdown. You'd have to see it dripping out of the sides of your television, I think, for it really to be one of those games. And knock on wood, that won't happen.
This is the same thing that our conversation that we're having is kind of unique because it's kind of what Jake and I were talking about it earlier in the first hour of the show. And it's kind of interesting. But, we haven't had very many mentions in our conversation with you, the name Patrick Mahomes, have we? I find that fascinating because there seems to be other things that are taking our attention away from having the best player in the NFL on your team. And we've not said the name Patrick Mahomes. I'd like to take this opportunity and just give you a minute or two and mention the name of Patrick Mahomes. Whatever comes to the top of your head, Dan. The floor is yours. Patrick Mahomes, go.
Paul, it's an excellent point because Mahomes, I think, threw for like 154 yards. I think he was, let's just look. He was 16 to 27. That's not Patrick Mahomes.
No.
That is not Patrick Mahomes. Yet his quarterback rating was 44.4. 44. I mean, a guy drops under 60 and you're talking about the bottom of the league. Yet somehow you saw him bust that run. You saw him stop, let the guy fly by. It was I told Coach it was like watching Top Gun. I'm going to hit the brakes. He's going to fly right by. And then he goes in and he steps on Mustafa. I mean, it's like, who is this guy? So he's making a play 2 or 3 a game that are helping the team, but that's not very Mahomesian. Mahomes is like a guy making a play every drive. And so I guess for Chiefs fans, the takeaway from that is really about when Mahomes settles in and starts playing like Patrick Mahomes, maybe we'll look as unbeatable as the Ravens did last night.
It ain't gonna be Sunday. I'll bet you they run it Kareem Hunt a boatload and lean into that defense, and we'll just keep watching the trade deadline. They've, I would have said they get to stack themselves up against the Buccaneers right before the deadline, but the Buccaneers, that was just a brutal night for them last night. So we'll see. We'll see if they add anything. We'll see if the Raiders find a way to give them any trouble, but it is hard to find a way and see it. It should be a nice week for the Chiefs, Dan. We appreciate it. Enjoy the week here, and we'll just have our eyes on Brett Veach. Ball's in his court now. We'll see if he does anything.
Yeah, come on, Brett. We need something to talk about.
Yep, give it to us. Just one guy, just one.
It's just one. That's all we're asking.
Dan, thank you.
You bet, guys. Have a good week.
There goes Dan Israel, executive producer of the Chiefs Radio Network, our Chiefs insider. Always appreciate him joining the show, and of course, you can always hear the Chiefs Radio Network over on KNSS. You'll hear the Chief Kingdom show tonight right here on KFH. That's at 6 o'clock. Great stuff. If you missed any of it, you can go to the Odyssey app and check that out. It's always available for you for free. Always podcasted out. Chad does a great job with that. We're going to come back, and we're going to turn the page on football. We've talked all football. We've got this WNBA story. We've got baseball playoffs starting here pretty quick. There's a lot out there for you that we can get to. On our way out, let's set up our HTO Text to Win contest. You can enter by texting the keyword T to the short code 20357. What that will get you is a free iced tea, more than 25 flavors to choose from, all kinds of sweet and unsweet, delicious iced tea, and some free Rain coffee. It is iced. It is hot. It is any way you want it. You can get one of each right now by texting the keyword T to the short code 20357. You can enter once per day. Message and data rates apply. Good luck, everybody. Those are good for any of the 3 Wichita Metro locations. We'll be right back with more Sports Daily right after this.
A mourning widow sells her husband's car trying to move on, but the checks came back in his name.
How do they expect him to cash his check?
Looking for answers, fact finder Brandon Stitt went to the Department of Revenue. A proposed energy plan that threatens Kansas landowners, meaning some families could lose their homes.
My land is not for sale. Others' land is not for sale. Our lifestyle is not for sale.
12 News took their concerns to Senators Marshall and Moran. When you need answers, turn to the fact finders for help. Right. Start your day with 12 News this morning. Get ready with Jake's accurate hour-by-hour forecast, so you'll know if you need a jacket when you walk out the door or an umbrella by lunch. Start your day knowing what happened overnight and what's happening now. Live, breaking news all morning long. And plan the best route to work and school with traffic from across Kansas. Start your day right. Start your day with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into the jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
At 12 News, we know you're busy, which is why we're here whenever you need us. Anytime, any screen. With live breaking news.
Critically hurt after an apartment.
Storm Team 12 forecast.
Snowing for many miles.
And the stories you don't want to miss.
The scene's still very active.
Just search KWCH 12 News wherever you stream and catch up on the latest news of the day. All for free and on your schedule, hopefully making your day a little bit easier. And did I mention the Storm Team 12 forecast? 12 News whenever you want.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Determining fact from fiction. That's our full-time job.
You need to have someone give you the whole story from every side.
To help you when no one else is listening.
You need someone to put you first.
That's what we do.
We bring you the facts first.
When you need it.
Wherever you are.
12 News. Facts first.
Welcome back in, everybody. Hotline is back open, the IHOP hotline, where you can celebrate the weekdays, new IHOP house faves, all your favorites, just $6 Monday through Friday. Welcome back into Sports Daily. Jacob Albrock, Paul Savage here. Thanks to Dan Israel for hopping on with us there, top of the hour. Talk a little Chiefs. We've talked a lot of Chiefs as the Ravens make a statement last night, fire a salvo, and the Chiefs are 6-0, and maybe they don't care, but we'll see. Paul, this WNBA story is interesting. I'm trying to get caught up and educated on it because I think it's very multi-layered and complicated. But what's happened is they finish up their season and the New York Liberty win the title, and you get through all that is the players are opting out of their collective bargaining agreement, and they are doing it early. It would go into effect until this next season. So they've got a full year to figure this out. The timing, it makes sense. You know, a lot of times I wonder if the timing is right to do these sorts of things. Whenever we see bargaining go sideways, there are times where I think the timing is very fortuitous for the workers. And there are times where I'm like, ooh, things aren't going so well. Maybe now's not the time. Now feels like the time for the WNBA. What's really interesting about it is, as the players are looking to get a better deal, and they will, is that the WNBA is expected to lose $50 million in 2024, a five-fold increase, according to the Washington Post, over what they normally lose as a league, which is $10 million. Now, you'd hear that and you'd say, oh, man, the WNBA is failing. Not so fast. We do know that attendance records were in the books this year, largely around Caitlin Clark. We know viewership records were recorded this year, largely around Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is the cash cow. We've all known that. And Angel Reese to some degree. So now what you'll have, and why I think this is such good timing for the players, is the WNBA has got to get its media rights deal figured out. SportsProMedia.com estimates that they could, and this is according to that Washington Post article, actually, they're just regurgitating it, but They could be in line to triple their annual rights deal in the next cycle. The WNBA could. So it's like that in business. If you're early on, right? You're early on in it. And they're not early on in the WNBA, but it's early in this new evolution, I should say, of it. Do you go all in then to build it up for the future? And almost always the answer to that is, of course you do. All the betting sites, Paul, all the money they hemorrhaged and all the marketing they did was for long-term growth, right? You go big in the beginning and then you cut it back later. That's the opportunity the WNBA has right now with Caitlin Clark and this newfound fan base and all of these things. You've got to go all in on that now. And that's sort of what the players are doing. They're going all in. And I wonder, Paul, if all those players who are, trying to teach Caitlin Clark a lesson right now are happy she's in the WNBA.
Right. Well, I'm with you on that. Yeah, that's a good question, Jacob. Very good question. And I'm basing what I know about this whole deal off of what was posted off of ESPN today. And evidently, Jacob, the league has recently entered into an 11-year media deal, 11-year media rights deal with Disney, with Prime, Amazon Prime, and NBC for $200 million a year. That's $200 million a year for 11 years. So I think that's a done deal, at least according to ESPN. And you're right. This is not a coincidence that the league says, okay, or I should say, not the league, but the Players Association. Right. Well, I think it's time. We have what, 200 and we have what, $2 billion or $1 billion about to come in, $2 billion about to come in. It's time to renegotiate what we're going to make, because this is guaranteed money. $200 million a year on TV rights just with those three networks. So it all makes sense. But, I wonder if I'm on the board of directors for Disney or Amazon Prime or NBC, and I see this deal in particular, I'm thinking to myself, is it wise to get involved with a league that is personality driven, not personalities, one personality?
I think that's a little unfair. Yes, Caitlin Clark has sparked the growth. No doubt about it.
No doubt.
But I think, and this is why we kept saying, and like, why isn't she in the Olympics? You have to let that growth fall in love with everything else that's happening. Angel Reese was a star too. Even if it's as the villain, still has drawn, and she got hurt and all those things. I think you have to still bet on the product that you're able to put out. And that Game 5 was not good by all accounts, of people that were locked into it. It wasn't like it just was kind of sloppy, whatever. But Game 4 was great. I watched the end of that one. So I don't know. Like, I think that they have to, like, if you're not going to go all in with Caitlin Clark there, you can't go all in only on Caitlin Clark. You have to go all in with Caitlin Clark, right? You have to let her bring everything up and try to take advantage of it. And I think that's what they'll do. I think, initially when I saw this, I was like, ooh, that's a little risky. I know the league just lost a bunch of money.
That's right.
But I also am seeing now that the vast and wide expectation is they're about to finally be able to make some money and project some money into the future. They're expanding by most accounts. The league will grow. Who's the next Caitlin Clark? Because that is very possible, right? That we get the next great college star that the country falls in love with the growth of women's college basketball. That's, just exploding right now. Who's that next star? Or who
Probably
are those next stars?
I'm guessing.
Well, but that's what I mean. So you're also, so it's not all Caitlin. Caitlin Clark is the growth, right? But the projections into the future can't be all Caitlin Clark, or it's probably not a very good investment, right? It's an investment for however long her career lasts. I think you're betting on the growth of the sport, and that's that grassroots growth that we've seen in the college game continues to translate up, and that'll be good. So hopefully it works out. I'll bet you this isn't, well, I shouldn't say that. Most of these things get pretty contentious. I hope that it's not. I hope that what I hope doesn't happen, Paul, and I'm afraid of this, and I think it probably will, is that this, instead of, the conversation about the great growth and everything that's happened, it'll become this debate again of hard, for whatever reason, people that just have to get out there that, oh, nobody's watching or anything, even though more people watch than ever before. Proof is in the pudding. And then we get this debate of like, well, it's not worth it. That's crazy. Too much money. Nobody watch. Like, let's put all that aside. Let the business people handle the business stuff. I just hope it doesn't turn into that conversation, and the conversations continue to be around the great young players that have infused a new energy into the league.
I assure you it's going to turn that way, and this is going to turn ugly.
It already is that way for a lot of people.
It's going to get even worse, and here's why. You're not going to get rich playing in the WNBA.
Well, that's what they're trying to change. That's what
they're trying to change it. And that's where this league is. I mean, the WNBA players, they look at the NBA and think to themselves, good players are getting $100 million. Good. I mean, did I say great players? No, I said good players are getting $100 million for a 3 or 4 year contract. And WNBA, I read an article with regards to Reeks. We were talking about her just a second ago, Angela Reeks, and she's really complaining. I guess her salary, a rookie salary is somewhere around $75,000, $80,000 per year. And where she lives, her salary isn't covering her rent. Her rent's $8,000 a month, $96,000 a year, $8,000 rent in a lot of cities, by the way, Jacob. I know that sounds like a lot here in Wichita, Kansas, but there are cities in the United States, and most of them that
her rent is not $8,000 a month.
They quoted it.
Then live somewhere else.
So she's probably living above her means.
Yeah,
well, she made $1.8 million in NIL last year. She banked that. So she's got some money. She made $1.8 million according to this article last year. So, but with that being said, still a salary of
$8,000 a month in rent.
That's what it was. The article was quoted.
And find a different place to live.
Her total lease is $96,000 a year where she lives right now. But but the point is that these young ladies, and I believe they have some right to a better salary, and I think it's going to happen. I think you're going to see that going up because the league's going to be taking in a whole lot of money with TV rights that they didn't have before. And so a $10 million loss is going to turn into $30-40 million a year profit for the league. I can see that happening, but this is fascinating. And of course, I'm still fascinated about the whole thing because this is basically driven by one person. I worry, Jacob, about anything that's driven by one personality. The NFL loves Patrick Mahomes, but he's not the only guy in that league that could drive.
Well, look, if you're media rights company, you're betting that it won't be about that, right? If you're willing to pay up for it, you're betting that it won't be just now. It is right now. It is right now.
Yes, that is correct.
But you're betting that it won't be forever, and I would say that's a pretty decent bet that it won't
and they're
be
not.
Forever.
Those aren't dumb people, are they? Those people, they understand. They're not going to say, "Yeah, we'll give you $200 million a year for the next 11 years," unless they're pretty sure. I think I'm speaking right when it comes to media company. You would know more about that than me because you deal with.
Well, they make bad deals just like anybody else. I mean, there's certainly risk in it. Don't get it right. Like there is risk in it. But I would say this, like for the players, the risk in the media rights deal is on the media rights company. I think the one thing that's almost certain to get better for the league too is in venue attendance. Right? That would be the place where I would guess the growth continues to happen, even more so than TV. Paul, like outside of the NFL, there isn't anything that everybody's watching. Nothing. It's the NFL, and nothing else is even close to it. Not college football, not the NBA, not Major League Baseball, not college basketball. There's nothing like the NFL. And sometimes I think it's like this World Series. Everyone, the ratings are going to be record high. Yeah, they will be because they're in two massive. They're in two massive media markets,
right? But there's
I don't think
that too.
But that's not like that doesn't speak to the strength of the sport.
Oh, well.
Right? What speaks to the strength of the sport are butts in the seats and the collection of ratings from everything, right? So I think for the WNBA, it's as much for the players anyway. It's as much about they're opting out because they know more people are watching and paying attention. They know and can see what's happening with Caitlin Clark. They know how many fans are being created that'll bring their families to a basketball game, and they get to make money that way too. Like the teams, the media rights deal for the teams, but attendance matters, and I think that's an area of growth for the league too. So players probably making the right call. If I had to say one way or the other, I think the timing is fine. I think they'll get a better deal, and so will the WNBA, and hopefully the growth continues. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get just a little teaser, a little taste of the Sunflower Showdown with Mr. Savage. KU gets a big needed win. Could anything come of that? Could they be a real test for K-State this weekend? They probably can. We'll talk about it next on Sports Daily.
A mourning widow sells her husband's car trying to move on, but the checks came back in his name.
How do they expect him to cash his check?
Looking for answers, fact finder Brandon Stitt went to the Department of Revenue. A proposed energy plan that threatens Kansas landowners, meaning some families could lose their homes.
My land is not for sale. Others' land is not for sale. Our lifestyle is not for sale.
12 News took their concerns to Senators Marshall and Moran. When you need answers, turn to the fact finders for help. Right. Start your day with 12 News this morning. Get ready with Jake's accurate hour-by-hour forecast, so you'll know if you need a jacket when you walk out the door or an umbrella by lunch. Start your day knowing what happened overnight and what's happening now. Live, breaking news all morning long. And plan the best route to work and school with traffic from across Kansas. Start your day right. Start your day with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into The Jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
At 12 News, we know you're busy, which is why we're here whenever you need us. Anytime, any screen. With live breaking news.
Critically hurt after an apartment.
Storm Team 12 forecast.
Snowing for many miles.
And the stories you don't want to miss.
The scene's still very active.
Just search KWCH 12 News wherever you stream and catch up on the latest news of the day. All for free and on your schedule, hopefully making your day a little bit easier. And did I mention the Storm Team 12 forecast? 12 News whenever you want.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. but let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Determining fact from fiction. That's our full-time job.
You need to have someone give you the whole story from every side.
To help you when no one else is listening.
You need someone to put you first.
That's what we do.
We bring you the facts first.
When you need it.
Wherever you are.
12 News. Facts first.
Zachary chimes in on YouTube about the Buccaneers onside kicks. He calls them probably the best consecutive kicks he's ever seen. They missed the second try. Actually flipped over by that point to the other game, Chargers and Cardinals. But it's funny on these new rules, the onside kicks. We've seen several converted, I think, and maybe not as bad as we thought. But appreciate the comment there, Zach. Paul, the Sunflower Showdowns this week, and we'll get much more into this game throughout the week here. We'll have Shreyas on tomorrow. We'll have Fitz on Thursday. I look, if KU plays that way offensively, I think they're dangerous, very dangerous, quite frankly. I don't know what's happened to them defensively, but I do think we could get a very entertaining Sunflower Showdown this weekend. And I don't think that K-State should, and fans, quite frankly, feel like this is a foregone conclusion. KU has looked much better offensively the last two times we've seen them play.
Well, I look at the University of Kansas, and you mentioned their defense, and quite frankly, the first half of the season, their defense was probably the best part of their
first few games. I agree.
Yeah, but the problem is that what I saw coming with the University of Kansas was it seems like in every game, even from the very beginning, and I don't mean Lindenwood, I'm not talking about then, I'm talking about from there on, but it always seems like that the defense gave up one or two possessions that were long, took forever, held the ball forever, that kind of couldn't get them out and get them off, get the offense onto the field and get the defense off. Could not do that. That's what has worried me. I just looked it up. I wanted to see what the latest line was. 10.5 points. K-State giving 10.5. Man, that doesn't seem right, does it? 10.5 over under, by the way, is 55.5.
Over. What do you think about that 10.5 point line?
I don't know. I think I would take K-State at this point because I don't trust Kansas. I do not trust them. I got stuck too many times earlier in the year on our Friday football picks. I took Kansas too many times. I don't think they're the team we think they are.
No, I don't either. It's hard not to take K-State. Look, there's no way I'm taking KU at K-State in our picks or anything like that. But that doesn't also mean that this can't be a really dangerous game for K-State, because I think it can be.
It can, yes. No, it definitely.
I think Jalen Daniels is finally beginning to look good again. And if you've got that in combination with talented running backs, and we know they have talented receivers, it's really going to test the K-State defense. Like, this will be, to me, as good a test against that K-State defense as they've faced. If the KU offense is clicking, you can, right there with Colorado's offense, I think, and maybe even more versatile than Colorado's offense. Like, if you've got the best version of it, that's a real test. Now, KU also has to stop K-State. And right. K-State's offense, I think, is the best in the Big 12. And so that's where you get into it. Like, I'm not going to do it. But I do think that KU has at least given us hope that this will be an entertaining game. And who knows? And I don't like, I'm very glad that KU is playing better football. Now I'm also scared, though, because I really want to see one of them end up in the college football playoff. And K-State's obviously the team with that chance. So it's like,
that's the only one. Yeah.
Well, now what? Right? Like, now what do we, it'll be a great, I know KU fans want to beat K-State so badly, but we all, all the rest of us are like, I just kind of want K-State to get in. So it is a little worrisome if you're a K-State fan, but we'll talk about it. I don't think super worrisome, but I think certainly more than it was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Right.
Hopefully KU finishes strong. Such a bummer. But it would certainly help if they finish the year strong. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And as Shreas has told us before, Jalen Daniels does have a year of eligibility left. Like, who knows? The rust. If it was all rust, the rust appears to be gone.
I sense a little bit of worry from you with regards.
I am a little worried. And I don't know why. But I am. Like, it's creeping in for some reason.
Yeah,
it's like an itch.
Like I sense that. Now, I guess the obvious question is at this point, who you got right now as the Big 12 representative in the big dance. I guess it's BYU, isn't it? I don't believe it's going to be Iowa State.
It's going to be hard for it not to be BYU.
Well, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. It's going to be.
They'll beat Iowa State, so it would be hard to imagine BYU's chance to lose that game against Oklahoma State. All right, we'll come back. We'll wrap it up. We'll tell you what's on the network today when we return on Sports Day.
A mourning widow sells her husband's car trying to move on, but the checks came back in his name.
How do they expect him to cash his check?
Looking for answers, fact finder Brandon Stitt went to the Department of Revenue. A proposed energy plan that threatens Kansas landowners, meaning some families could lose their homes.
My land is not for sale. Others' land is not for sale. Our lifestyle is not for sale.
12 News took their concerns to Senators Marshall and Moran. When you need answers, turn to the fact finders for help. Right. Start your day with 12 News this morning. Get ready with Jake's accurate hour-by-hour forecast, so you'll know if you need a jacket when you walk out the door, or an umbrella by lunch. Start your day knowing what happened overnight and what's happening now. Live, breaking news all morning long. And plan the best route to work and school with traffic from across Kansas. Start your day right. Start your day with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSEW.
Hey, Wichita, Jim Rome here, celebrating over 25 years as the #1 midday sports talk show on Wichita Radio. Find out why. Tune into the jungle, weekdays 11 until 2 on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Clouds are not just the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say it takes a village. Come together and support local businesses in our neighborhoods. When you contribute to local shops, more money goes back into the economy. Shopping local makes our state stronger. So give back to the communities you love and watch our businesses and communities thrive. Shop local and be Kansas proud.
At 12 News, we know you're busy, which is why we're here whenever you need us. Anytime, any screen. With live breaking news.
Critically hurt after an apartment.
Storm Team 12 forecast.
Snowing for many miles.
And the stories you don't want to miss.
The scene's still very active.
Just
right
search KWCH 12 News wherever you stream and catch up on the latest news of the day. All for free and on your schedule, hopefully making your day a little bit easier. And did I mention the Storm Team 12 forecast? 12 News whenever you want.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea. With more than 25 flavors, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day for half-price cups of tea. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Determining fact from fiction. That's our full-time job.
You need to have someone give you the whole story from every side.
To help you when no one else is listening.
You need someone to put you first.
That's what we do.
We bring you the facts first.
When you need it.
Wherever you are.
12 News. Facts first.
That's it for us. Paul,
That's
thanks for
it.
stepping in on a Tuesday, changing your
fun.
schedule up a little bit.
Had fun. I'll see you Friday. I guess I'll see
That's
you on
right.
Friday.
That's right. I'll celebrate Hawaiian Shirt Wednesday in your honor. I'm sure Tommy will be a fun hater, but we'll have fun without him. Jad, thanks for producing. Regular programming today, including Bob and Jeff locally from 2 to 4. And the Chiefs Kingdom show tonight, 6 o'clock. Mitch Holthus takes you through the week. A lot to talk about on the Chiefs Kingdom show. If you missed anything from today, including Dan Israel of the Chiefs Radio Network, you can listen for free on the Odyssey app. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.